There are many tanks in World of Tanks and World of Tanks Blitz that are clearly fake. Think the Smasher. But then again, there are some tanks that appear to be based on genuine tanks that possibly existed, either as a prototype or as a proposed development. One such tank is that of the Jagdpanther II. Here we're going to have a look at the history, if there is one, of the Jagdpanther II. The idea behind having a tank destroyer based on an existing model of a tank was nothing new to the Germans. In fact, almost all of their main battle tanks, with the exception of the Tiger I, were at some stage converted into a form of tank destroyer. Think Panzer I and you come up with the Panzerjäger I, or Marder I as it was also known. Think Panzer II equals Marder II, or even the Wesp. Think Panzer III, and you have a Sturmgeschütz III. Think Panzer IV, you have the Jagdpanzer IV, or even the Sturmgeschütz IV, and then we come to, slightly out of sync, the Panzer VI, aka the Tiger I, which never made it as a TD. It made it into the guise of a Sturmtiger, which is in fact not a tank destroyer. It is a heavy assault gun designed purely to destroy heavy fortifications. We then roll back to the Panzer V, also known as the Panther. There we have the Jagdpanther. The story behind the development of the Jagdpanther is actually quite interesting. Basically, the Germans had a very successful anti-tank gun, which was actually never initially an anti-tank gun, it was an anti-aircraft gun, that of the 8.8 centimeter flak gun, which they actually discovered was more effective as an anti-tank gun than it was as anti-aircraft, its initial design. And the Germans, being the Germans, thought, wow, why don't we stick one of these really good anti-tank guns onto a tank, making it mobile, thus the best of both worlds, in their view. Ironically, the first attempt to do this was actually on Porsche's failed Tiger P, which became known as the Ferdinand. The problem with the Ferdinand was it was technically complex and prone to mechanical failure. Not only that, it was not very mobile and it was found to have been too heavy. The Germans found this out to a cost in Kursk, funnily enough. The other unsuccessful attempt in the German eyes to marry a 8.8 centimeter gun to a chassis was that of the Nashorn, which was basically a Panzer III, Panzer IV chassis with an 8.8 centimeter gun mounted on top. That was proven to be vastly underpowered and lacking any armour whatsoever. So the Germans were left scratching their heads until along came the Panther, a medium tank that was both well armoured and incredibly mobile. Okay, at this stage it still had technical and mechanical issues, again, which was discovered at Kursk, but these would eventually be overcome with a bit of tinkering. The Panther seemed to be the perfect fit. Not too heavy, pretty mobile, and well armoured. So it was therefore proposed, let's mount this 88 onto a fixed case-mated Panther chassis. Thus was born the Jagdpanther. The Jagdpanther itself was one of, if not the most successful tank destroyer mounted onto a tank in World War II. It had amazing sloping frontal armour, giving it massive protection. It had good all-round mobility, and it also was able to accommodate the formidable 8.8 15cm Pak 43 gun, the same gun that was mounted into the Tiger II, making it incredibly formidable as a weapon. The Jagdpanthers were produced between 1943 and 1945, and a total of 415 were built. The thing about the Germans, however, is that they're never content with what they have, and they also looked into more designs of even more tank destroyers based upon a Panther chassis, resulting in what is now known as the Waffenträger Panthers. Now, these were basically Panthers with big massive guns, either a 12.8cm or 15cm gun plonked on the top. None of the designs got past the wooden mock-up stage. It started with Krupp, funnily enough. They came out with the Grill, or Cricket. This was a Panther that had a rear-mounted 12.8 initially, going up to 15cm gun. It did get past blueprint and got to wooden mock-up. However, Krupp failed to make any type of prototype, so the project was dropped, but not the idea. So in 1943 they presented their second design, this time based on the 15cm. Now you'll have to excuse my German, I'm not very good, but this was called the Slabsfahrrad mit absetzbarer 15cm, or SKB 891 for short. Again, this was just a massive gun plonked on top of a Panther chassis, the difference being this time the gun could be removed. Interestingly, it could be lifted off. However, again Krupp got to wooden mock-up, but the design was not approved. They just thought it was impractical. Now, war always sets off innovative competition between industry, and not to be outdone by Krupp, Rheinmetall also decided to have a look at this tricky problem of mounting a big gun on top of a Panther. And they came up with the Scorpion of the Rhine, basically a Panther chassis with not rear mounted like Krupp, but mid mounted like a normal Panther turret, a 12.8cm gun. However, Rheinmetall thought that Krupp's design was much better, so despite the fact they weren't eliminated, nor was their design rejected, they dropped out of the competition. Like Krupp though, they thought, we're not going to drop this idea, so they came up with a new concept. This time it was called the 15cm Panther Bautilian. Again, my German is pants, please excuse me, which was basically a modified Scorpion of the Rhine. Instead of housing a 12.8cm, it housed a 15cm gun. Again, however, Rheinmetall found that Krupp really had the upper hand, and they dropped this design also, and then decided never again to attempt to try and fit a big gun onto any type of Panther chassis, and they focused on Panzer IVs instead. And that's about the history of mounting big guns to a Panther. But hey, I hear you all shout, what about the reason for the video? The Jagdpanther II. Clearly it's missing, and it's a notably missing tank. Why is that? Well, no such tank existed. There was a concept to mount a rear casemate to an existing Jagdpanther to house a 12.8cm Pak 80 gun. This design was known as the Jagdpanther mit 128 Pak 80. It never got past concept. Now this could be where wargaming think Jagdpanther II came about, because it is a rear-mounted casemate on a Jagdpanther with a 12.8cm gun. Never officially called the Jagdpanther II, never got past the concept stage, was dropped almost immediately, primarily due to the fact it weighed in excess of 50 tons, And the Germans thought, well, what's the point? We've just made a tank that's completely immobile and just no good. And not only that, with it being rear-mounted on the casemate, it also created other problems, what with engine movability and all that sort of stuff. So it was effectively dropped. So, whilst the Jagdpanther II in real life never existed, never even got past the initial concept stage, wargaming could be forgiven in introducing this tank into the game as a real tank, because there was an idea behind it, albeit somewhere. Anyway, that has been a very brief history of the Jagdpanther II, a tank that never existed, never even got past the initial brain fart stage. I've been Fugit. If you enjoyed the content, please press like and comment and everything below. If you haven't yet, press that subscribe button. It's a lovely thing to do. Thank you for watching, and I will be back soon with more history lessons on tanks and World War II and stuff like that. So until the next time, stay safe out there, and again, thanks for watching.